Welcome back to my channel. Want to talk a little bit about Diddy. Y'all, he got more charges. Let's get into it. Okay, so I read the new charges, the superseding indictment that they just put out on Diddy a couple days ago. It's 15 pages. I've read it twice, 3 times now, because I was trying to find the sole purpose of these extra charges. So it sounds like there's extra victims now. Where they're initially, I think they were all riding on Cassie, victim 1. Now there's victim 2 and 3. Okay. And it sounds as though he may have treated them all the same way. However, they're also trying to imply that his Combs Global Enterprises that houses all the entities, Bad Boy Entertainment, the media company, the alcohol company, the television, all of those that fall under that enterprise was a front for what he really was doing in the background. That's where they're trying to conjure up these racketeering conspiracy charges, right? And that everybody that worked for him was also in on it. Okay. So whatever he was doing behind the scenes, and I'm assuming the trafficking is what they're saying he was doing behind the scenes. The Combs media and the record label and all that kind of stuff was a front for his trafficking. That's how the indictment is reading to me. Let me first start off by saying everything on this channel is alleged in my opinion and done for entertainment purposes only. So, with that being said, I, for one, in my opinion, don't believe that he was hiding behind this conglomerate of record labels, media, industry stuff to do trafficking. I feel in my heart that appetite grew as he got richer because he was powerful enough to make people do what he wanted them to do when he wanted them to do it and how he wanted to do it. Now, mind you, there were people in his company or companies that probably did do what he asked because they wanted to keep their job. It's about people's livelihoods. Not to say that what they were doing was right, not to say that none of them felt bad about what they were doing or hiding or concealing, because I'm sure that was done. I'm not denying anything that's been printed. However, I feel like the way it's being spun is not accurate. It's not truly accurate. I don't think that he was trafficking, because the reason why I say that is because if he was paying commercial workers and they knew they were coming to do a job, how is that trafficking if they had to come from Florida to wherever, or California to wherever, or the United States to wherever? How is that trafficking? I was under the impression when trafficking was first brought to our attention, it was more so people being kidnapped, not willing participants, like they were being kidnapped, and being forced into some type of actual labor against their will. That's what I understood trafficking to be. But if this is my profession to come where you are to service you, how is that X trafficking? And for some reason, that's what they're saying it is. So let me ask you this question. I'm just putting it out there. I used to date this guy who worked in security, and his post was in Barbados. I flew to Barbados to see him. Is that X trafficking? He didn't pay me. He didn't coerce me. I went to beautiful Barbados. It was great. Is that X trafficking? Because if so, I was X trafficked. I don't see anyone that's willing to come to where you are to do whatever. I mean, I didn't come there purposely for that, but it happened. Boom, boom. Um, so that is unclear to me, but that's what they're saying is affiliated with S trafficking. Okay, that's fine. So if that's the case, so then they're saying that he was distributing narcotics as if trying to spin it as if he was a rug dealer. Now he's a rug dealer. In this superseding indictment, that's how it's being spun. Now, I'm not saying there weren't any rugs, because when you're having a so-called party, because these freak offs were his parties, his ex parties, he probably had alcohol, rugs, and the whole gamut for people to get to the level where they need to get so they could have a blast. I see that that's what the rugs were used for, especially when they talk about the 2C. Now, they don't talk about the 2C first. Well, I guess they do talk about it in here because they break it down into the different ingredients. But I know it had ecstasy in it, which is a drug to enhance your feeling, right? That's what that's how I understand it. Never taken it. But it was a party, and he wanted his parties to last for days. Now, granted, if he gave people narcotics so they would be out of their minds so that it would last for days and you're holding people against their will, unbeknownst to I mean, if you're in a state that you can't even fight back, or in a state that you can't even get up and put your clothes on and go home, yeah, there's something wrong with that. So yeah, there is something with that. I don't know what the charge is. Is it kidnapping? I don't know. Coercion? I don't know. And then if you also, on top of that, use an intimidation factor for people to stay because you don't want the party to end, yeah, there's something wrong with that. But this is what I see. I see Diddy as just a awful human being, a horrible boss, a even worse boyfriend who became this multi-millionaire slash billionaire who used his power and money to intimidate and dictate to his employees and people around him to do what he wanted them to do, when he wanted to do it, and how he wanted to do it. And then on the other receiving end of that, those people, whether they be employees, friends, or what have you, doing what he wants to be done in order to secure their financial security, because they have livelihoods. They have to eat. They have more than likely have families. Not to say that that wasn't right, that wasn't wrong, that what he did was wrong. Let me rephrase that. What I'm saying is not to say that how he went about all of that was wrong. It was wrong, but people in general will do what they need to do to a certain extent, of course. I mean, it depends on where you are and what you're doing, what your nature of your job is. Will do what they need to do to get their job done because they need their jobs. So did they conceal it? Probably so. Did it conceal the beatings? Did they conceal the intimidation? Did it conceal The sexapades that were going on, did they conceal all of that? Yes, they did. Did they try to clean up the mess? Did they book hotels? Did they do? They made sure it was like a well-oiled machine for his actual desires. That's what I'm seeing. The racketeering charge, I don't see that. Not to say that he didn't use the funds. Maybe that's what it is. He used the funds to be able to do what he wanted to do. But that built his wealth. His wealth came anyway. His appetite, I believe, may have grown much later. Now, I say that to say this. I'm saying that I believe all of the allegations in Cassie's lawsuit. She was there for 10 years. I believe she went through hell. She stayed because she felt like he was going to cut off her livelihood. It's addictive. That livelihood in that atmosphere, I'm sure, is addictive. You get anything at your beck and call, right? It's just the other stuff that you got to contend with in order to live like that. If you got to live with a monster in order to drive a Bentley or live in this penthouse or whatever he did for her, she dealt with that because she didn't want to lose the lifestyle. Whose fault is that? I'm not blaming her. Not blaming her. But I'm just saying, where's the crime in what he was doing? Because my thing is, she could have walked away a long time ago. She finally did walk away. It wasn't like she couldn't, because she did. She just took her a long time to do it. And it might have been hard. But she had to give up certain items that she was used to having in order to walk away. And his thing was, if you walk away, you're not going to do this. I'm not going to do this anymore. Da da da. And her thing was, she thought about it, and it took her some time to, get over that. And that was his control. Her financial security was her control. Same as his employees. Is that racketeering though? Was his business a front for him to make everybody else do what they wanted to do? It's his business, his policies, his guidelines, his business. There's no federal law inside his business that he had that they were mandated. Like, you had to treat your people like this. That was his business. Right? I'm just saying. There are labor laws, trust and believe. I get that. But I'm asking you to arrange my travel. I'm asking you to arrange their travel. They need to be paid for their services once they get here, wherever they're coming from. We want to make sure that we have a nice space. I need you to reserve a space for whatever we're going to set up. I also need for you to have these things in the room when I get there. Just like a CEO when he goes to the boardroom. I need waters, I need fruit plate, I need this, that, and that. Diddy did the same thing. Just on another scale, another level, another whole thing. I'm going to need my baby oil. I'm going to need my lubricant. I'm going to need my rugs. I'm going to need boom, 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 boom for my parties. I'm just saying. They were illegal substances, and yes, there should be a charge for that. But was he a drug dealer? If he put the plate of rugs in the middle of the floor, or on the middle of the conference table, or the middle, whatever, and you took and indulged in it, is that a drug dealer? I'm just saying. Anyway, to sum up that 15-page indictment, there are now 3 victims, 1, 2, and 3. And they're saying that he coerced, emotionally, physically abused, trafficked, kidnapped. They even threw arson in there. So I don't know what the arson is. Like, the 3 victims, were they subject to the arson? I don't know. but it seems like they're just trying to see what sticks. Like, again, these are superseding indictments. That doesn't mean that he will be like these charges will stick. But his lawyer, his legal team, they got a lot of work ahead of them because he's going to get some time. And I believe he deserves to get some time. Not life, though. I don't believe he deserves life because, like I said, I feel like he's a bad friend, horrible employer, manager, CEO, boss, horrible, and an even worse boyfriend. He's got issues, clearly. Tell me what you think. I would have read the document to you, but that's boring. You know, because I went through, because it's a whole bunch of legal mumbo jumbo. They repeat themselves over and over again in each count. To protect, to serve, da 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 da. Sean, aka Diddy, aka Puff Daddy, they keep going through the same thing over and over again in each count. And then you get to the meat, it's like 2 or 3 sentences. Like, this is what we're talking about here. And I didn't want to, and I feel like they could have condensed this some kind of way. But anyway, tell me what you think about these new charges. It's nothing that we haven't already heard. I think some of the civil suits that have come out have now been changed over to criminal. That's what I'm thinking. I could be wrong. My opinion. So I don't think there's more people. I just think that they've just now turned criminal. Those cases have now turned criminal. Before you leave the building, like this video. It is a free way to support the channel. And if you haven't already done so, please share and subscribe. And with that being said, everyone be blessed. Peace.